black sheep. I thought no one could understand me. People looking at me like I'm crazy. Mama begging God to save me, but I know I had a purpose. I knew the struggle would be worth it. I'm just a young dream chaser, gonna be a young trailblazer. The ups and downs, I ain't sweating it.
Alright, welcome to the next video for mixing a song from start to finish. So, the last video we got into reverb and kind of the controls that you would see on the plugins for that. This video is going to be about delay, which should keep it pretty short. Delay is not a very complicated effect. We're going to route it the same way we did with the reverb using the send and the aux input. So I think for this one I'm going to use this in and out track or background vocal track for the verse. So let's take a listen to that real quick.
Black sheep could understand me like I'm crazy. God to save me. Purpose.
You hear a little bit of headphone bleed on the track,
Worth it.
but that's fine because we're going to use a noise gate on it when we mix it.
Gonna be a young trailblazer.
All right. So let's flip to our mix window. And here's our in and out track. So let's make a new stereo aux input. All right. Remember, we want to solo safe the aux track so that just because this verse is soloed, it won't mute out the delay. So command and click on it. And I think I said the wrong thing in the last video when I was talking about reverb. On a PC, it would actually be control click on the solo button. All right. So let's create a send. We'll use the delay 1 bus that I named. Go ahead and turn that up. And then the input to this aux track, remember, has to be the same bus that we're sending to. All right, that's it for the routing. So now we just need to go ahead and open up a delay plugin on the aux track. So I'll go ahead and just use the standard Pro Tools delay, Mod Delay 3. All right. All right, so on this particular delay plugin, we've got a few standard controls here. If you leave it set to sync, that means we can link our delay times to the tempo of the song and actually set note values for it. But the basic controls are the timing of it. If you hit link, we can actually link the left and right channels together so that we set the same delay time. But again, we could actually just click down here for note values, eighth note, quarter note, half note, and it'll just sync the timing of the delay to the tempo of the song. Feedback, as I mentioned, is going to control the amount of echoes that we hear, how many times we hear this delay echo back, right? And it's just quite simply, the name of the effect, delay, is pretty self-explanatory. We're just taking an audio signal, delaying it for a certain amount of time, and then playing it back after we hear the original sound. And then it also has a little bit of an EQ control, low-pass filter, if you want to do a little bit of tone control on the delay that you're using. And it has some modulation controls on here also. I'm not really going to use those for this video. The next one where we talk about chorus and flanger, those are modulation effects. So this is basically, you could kind of put a little bit of kind of a chorus or flanger type of sound into the delay. But just for this basic tutorial video, I'm not really going to mess with that. So I'm going to set my feedback. We'll set it to 50%. All right, so every repeat of the delay that we hear will be half as loud as the original. And we'll set it to a quarter note for now. So let's hear what we got on these vocals.
Black sheep, could understand me.
So the quarter note's kind of quick. The delay's kind of cutting into the words she's saying. So if we change maybe to half note.
Worth it. Gonna be a young trailblazer. Black sheep. Black sheep could understand me.
With the 50% feedback, there's actually a lot of echoes. It starts to get kind of muddy, so we might want less feedback than that.
Purpose, worth it. Gonna be a young trailblazer.
No, it doesn't get quite so chaotic like that.
That.
So it's nice when you have these note sync to tempo kind of options on here. Not every delay plugin will necessarily have that, so I want to give you kind of a quick little cheat sheet guide. If you can't automatically sync your delay to tempo, there's something you can just put in a calculator to figure out how many milliseconds would be a quarter note. So to do that, actually, let me go back to Pro Tools real quick, flip back to my edit window. Our tempo for this song is 120 beats per minute. So if we know the BPM, we can figure out the timing of a quarter note or a half note or any other note value really that we might need. So in a calculator, what we're going to do is 60,000 milliseconds. That's how many milliseconds you have in a minute, and the tempo is measured in beats per minute. So 60,000 milliseconds divided by the tempo, 120 BPM, gives us 500 milliseconds for a quarter note delay. So if we go back to Pro Tools now and check out our delay, if we put in 500 milliseconds, basically half a second, that should be a quarter note value.
Black sheep, could understand me.
Right?
Like
Now,
I'm crazy.
If we want the half note delay, instead of a quarter note, because the equation is just going to give you quarter note,
Worth it.
we just double the amount of time from 500 milliseconds to 1,000 milliseconds would give us a half note.
Black sheep, could understand me.
And if we wanted to keep going with it, if we wanted a whole note, that would be 4 quarter notes or 2 half notes. We would double this. So now take it up to 2,000, which would be 2 seconds of delay, and that would be an entire measure, a whole note. This would probably be too
Black
much.
sheep, could understand me. Like I'm crazy.
Yes, and it's just kind of
Got to
running all
save
over
me.
the other echoes. So
Got to save me.
I think the 1 second delay, 1,000 milliseconds, the half note, right? If I just set it to half note, nothing changes. We're still at 1,000 milliseconds, right? Whether I do the equation or I have the option to actually sync it on the delay plug and end up with the same amount of delay time.
Like I'm crazy. Got to save me.
And then the other thing would just be to blend it with the original, because the delay is kind of loud right now. So if we just pull the send level down, let it come back around.
Black sheep, could understand me.
That way the delay is not so up front, kind of blends in the back of the track a little more.
Got to save me.
All right, that's basically it. That's the delay tutorial. So we'll call it quits for this video. Hopefully you got something new out of this, and the next video we're going to dig into the chorus and flanger effects.
Was a black sheep. I thought no one could understand me. People looking at me like I'm crazy. Mama begging God to save me, but they know I had a purpose. I knew the struggle would be worth it. I'm just a young dream chaser, gonna be a young trailblazer.